highly controversial topic that is always associated with the 5G is the health hazards. And we've seen in many locations irreasonable actions taken against 5G base stations. How do you see that? What's your take on the health hazards associated to 5G, if any?
We've been working closely within the company with the communication, with the public sector like health ministry, even with some departments in the health ministry that are responsible for defining those levels. So we are working according to World Health Organization standards. What our practical measurement shows, I'm just not talking about practical shows even the current, if we even implement the all technologies, means 2G, 3G, even the 4G and like at least 4 bands in one site, we barely reach 10% from that level. So from that level of exposure that is set as a normal one, which already take into account all the risks. Currently, of course, they're a part of public publicity and public reaction, and that we need to deal with this via different channels, via explaining how it is. But if you look at Wi-Fi is almost the same frequency, and as like a mid-range frequency. And currently 5G, when we launched the 5G, is the same frequency, almost like a 4G. So there is a certainly very low limit as exposure, which is currently what we see from practical measurements. But you cannot explain to public. You try to explain to public, and maybe Ingmar can give some suggestions. But certainly, yes, it's a difficult question. It's a very sensitive question. So we try to deal past 12 months. We've been a lot of engaged in discussion and also explanation how it is, what it is.
Yes, I mean, there are probably two parts in here. One thing is, of course, that people are afraid of things they don't know. And since the 5G is something not so clear and there's a big buzz about it, like 5G this, 5G that, and there's lots of tension, so it's not so hard to turn it. And so the other thing is that at least in our region, but I think we are not alone. I mean, all the world these days is infected with different forces in informational field. I mean, who are using fake news to their advantage. And in our region particular, so we actually clearly we were able to witness the moment when this 5G topic was ignited. It was actually July. And because it didn't happen, like it just happens from many points at the same time. So that was an informational attack to our society, and luckily we had a victory in this battle. Over the time on 1 month, we were able to turn it into a joke. So any more or less educated person, it was not, how to put it in English, it was a very bad style to be afraid of the 5G. We cannot, of course, cure all the society. There's always 5 to 10% of people who would like to believe in something very supernatural, like flat Earth or many such strange things. But we have actually seen, like in Poland, it went somewhat out of control, and there were actual protests, and they actually went as far as they decreased the emission rates from the base stations. So that had this informational warfare, it actually had an actual impact on the operators in the Poland, and they will actually have to spend much more money for the coverage because of these protests. So you of course have to be very careful, because as we can also see that you can turn large number of people, they can go really crazy. So you should be really careful, So, and there are people who would like to create the chaos. So our experience was more or less lucky. We turned it into a joke. Yeah, so it was kind of, we started to wear these hats from tin, and you know, that kind of stuff, and it worked.
We have a comment from His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Darwish. Sir, please.
Thank you very much, Khaled. I just want to comment that I don't want to take sides on this health issue, because both sides actually, we don't know who's wrong and who's right. Newton law says for every force, there is an opposite force of equal size and direction. So answers that come from operators that, guys, people are afraid from things you don't know, but actually you don't know too. And I'm give you a very simple example about high tension cables above the ground for transmitting high voltage electricity. For 40 years now, we have been studying whether these cause leukemia or not. This kind of study needs 40 to 50 years, needs a sample of people living beside those and people who are not living beside those high tension cables, and then see who is going to achieve cancer, who is not going to achieve, whether this cancer he is going to achieve is due to the high tension cable or he have a genetic history in his family. So the idea that you just say, no, it has no effect, will let the other side say, you don't know what you're talking about. I think if we want to reach an understanding between two sides, and I want more time, I want to say I'm not taking sides. If you want to reach a good thing, you don't make fun of him and you say you are ridiculous and you are a joke, because you too don't know. Because many medications that have been developed that people thought had no side effects, like saccharin and other, and then they went to NutraSweet and now they are at stevia, they kept 10, 15 years later discovering the side effects of these. So the truth is, we don't know the effect of high frequency on body. There is nothing wrong to coming up and say, guys, we don't really know. Let's sit and study this together. Let's see, let's do measurements. But if every side keeps telling the other side, hey, you have a conspiracy theory, and this side, hey, you are ridiculous, you understand nothing, we're never going to reach an intermediate point and sit together like, very well understanding people at the same table and say, we're in it together, let's see. Thank you very much.
I would be really happy to comment on this one, since of course there are many layers in public discussion. Just as well, there are many forces, and there are people who would like to discuss, and there are people who would like to cause chaos. And you have to be really careful. We have been living on the front line with the country who is causing chaos constantly. So our population is rather very well educated, naturally educated to identify the fake news. And of course, there's many layers of the discussion. There's a scientific part. There's great research done in Denmark. The beauty in Denmark is that their health data and social data, they were able to interlink it with the actual usage of mobile technology over course of more than 20 years. And this is the most extensive research done to date on the effects of mobile radiation to human health and correlation or not correlation to oncology and the cancer, so to speak. This is one thing. So in that respect, what is happening with the 5G, we are actually lowering the amount of emissions done because of the efficiency of the technology and so on and so forth. So we cannot possibly say that right now there will be something happening, something much different that has happened in terms of radio frequency usage on the human body than it has been happening for the last 20 years. And as it has been showing by the research done in Denmark, it's not something we don't know. There is actual data. The problem with this discussion is that
the problem with what you're saying is that, I hate to interrupt you, but do you know that until today, scientific research is not settled whether your Bluetooth speaker in your ear is better or the wired speaker in your ear is better, because one has lower energy, lower wattage, which is your Bluetooth in your ear, but higher frequency, and the other one has lower frequency but higher wattage emission. This trivial issue is not scientifically resolved yet, and you are talking that, okay, because 5G is of lower wattage, then it is of, no, maybe it's because of its higher frequency. What I'm saying, let's answer the public with scientific research. I would have been so happy that the operators would take and say, look, the following research has been in Denmark, this is this, this is that.
It is.
But the idea to say to them, oh no, we know everything is okay, then his response will be, okay, why do I trust you? Okay.
Well, as if I may interfere, as a matter of fact, there has been lots of research in both directions. If we do a simple search on Google, depending on the type of the question we'll get hundreds of thousands of articles and researches. So it's still a highly controversial topic, and I don't think that there has been a firm answer to are there any confirmed hazards related to the mobile telephony at large, because this talk has been there since the start of the GSM, or there is no. We have a comment from Mr. Ahmed Sarhan. Can you please, Mr. Ahmed, please go ahead?
Yes, thank you, Khalid. I would like to join the fray about this interesting discussion about the technical, or let's say the health hazards of the 5G or the mobile technology in general. I would like to direct my talk to Dr. Ahmed Darwish. We don't want you to take sides. Nobody wants to take sides. Just take sides with the scientific facts or the measurements. We as operators or vendors, we only measure or what we can emit. So for example, the electromagnetic field emitted from a cell phone during a call is around 20 milliwatt per meter square. This can be measured. The base station of 5G can emit only 2 milliwatt on the meter square. In fact, the hair dryer in everybody's home today can emit up to 100 milliwatt on a meter square. We should not debate whether the hair dryer is more safe than the 5G or not, but we should debate what are the measurements are there. So this is what we have today. We can measure it. We can tell as operators or as vendors, we can tell the public what we can find out from this technology. Has been there for the past 40 years. There is not a single proven scientific evidence of a health hazard over the past 40 years. It's not about the frequency. It's about the power, not about the frequency at all, because the light we see is, or the eyesight, the vision is actually electromagnetic field as well, electromagnetic waves with certain frequencies. It's not that. We need to tell the public exactly what are the technical measurements that we are emitting from, let's say, 2G, 3G, 4G, or 5G. The fact is, this is the fact. The fact is, the electromagnetic field coming out from a 5G network is much, much lower than those of 4G or 3G or 2G. That's the fact. We should not get into the debate whether a Bluetooth headphone or wired headphone is more safe to the brain. This is something need to be measured. Yes, why not? We can measure it. How much it is, whether it is safe or not to the brain to speak 24 hours on a Bluetooth. Maybe there is something there, but this is at 0 dBm. In terms of power emitted.
I used it to say the fact. I'm very happy with your answer because I totally support you, but I would like to add to the wattage, the frequency, because health people say that it's not only the wattage, it's the wattage and it's a combination of the wattage and the frequency. So your answer to me is the perfect answer. We can go back and tell the users, guys, here are our specs. We emit the following energy at the following frequencies. We are not physicians, let's see. And we put that in comparison with all other devices that they have in their lives. Say the following device emits that much energy at that frequency, and we just step back because we're not the doctors. At that time, I bet you that the public will be quite reasonable because they will look and see and understand. But the fact that we are just telling them, hey, it's safe, I don't think it's, but thank you for your answer. This is exactly what I wanted that the way we deal with it is with numbers, because numbers don't lie.
Thank you very much. And with that, we are already past the allocated time. The closing statement would be, go guys, enjoy your phones, enjoy the technology, but don't overdo it. Thank you everybody for this very exciting session, and thanks for Ittisal for organizing this. Thank you, and we're looking forward to see you in other sessions.
Dr. Khaled.
Dr. Shidid, please.
Please, before you leave, fill in the evaluation report. It is on screen now.
Yes, there is a
we
poll.
need your feedback.
You would find at the bottom of your screens a poll. Kindly fill it up before you leave. Thanks again, everybody, and looking forward to coming sessions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.